If you're anything into creative arts like I am, you know that we love to bring projects to life. If you've been on the internet, you've probably heard of a little show kind of website called Welcome Home. It's really cute, based on the Muppets and kind of the 70s. I love it. I fell down the rabbit hole of Welcome Home in early summer of last year, and when I saw the main character, Wally Darling, I saw his cute little cardigan and thought, hey, I can make that. And this is one of my first kind of experiences to knitting, at least cardigans in this way. Thankfully, I had a book from my great-grandma that had a perfect pattern for it, and I bought the yarn and decided to get started. Little did I know what exactly I was putting myself in for, but I was determined to get it done over the summer. Before I started recording for this project, I had already knit the back piece for the cardigan, which you can see in the upper right corner here. And now I was starting to make the two front pieces. First I made the pocket, which you can see on the bottom right, and then I was going to attach it to the panel at the bottom left. One of the fun challenges of getting to work on this project was all the different new techniques I learned, like sewing on a pocket. Although I forgot to read the pattern and really read it and count stitches, so I ended up having to redo the front piece quite a bit. I will say that one of the nice parts about starting this project was that it's very therapeutic to knit. It does take a lot longer than crochet or sewing, but the nice thing is that I'm able to watch my videos and just kind of let my fingers do the work. As we wrap up the end of this clip here, really quick, I just wanted to talk about the two front pieces. So we made the gold ribbing, attached on the pocket, and then I proceeded to go make the front part, and I basically had to wing shaping the V-neck. And I repeated this process twice before moving on to the sleeves. Here you can see I have already done quite a bit of work on the first sleeve. This part I also winged because I did not count stitches or really read the pattern, which again I'd recommend doing. I was also doing a lot of modifying, so I didn't follow the pattern exactly. This is the part that took actually the longest, was doing the sleeves. Just because I was measuring it up to my arm and I didn't really have any way to count all the rows that I was doing, and just kept going, praying that hopefully it would end. Once I finished knitting sleeve number 1, here I am stitching it together with a simple crochet stitch just right up the side of the sleeve. This was a great triumph for me to get this done. I'd been working on this project already. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of it recorded, but I was working on this through the whole summer. I'm not really a knitter, I'm more of a crocheter, so I kind of got easily discouraged towards the middle, kind of end of summer, and I just kind of set the project off to the side for a little bit, but I knew I wanted to finish this one, and sometimes you just have to, it's easy to have piles of works of progress, but sometimes it's important to just buckle down and get it done. This one I knew was going to look great, or at least, semi-okay either way it turned out, so I was determined to get it finished. After sleeve number 1, I made my way onto sleeve number 2. However, that's where I ran into an issue. It was late at night and I realized that I hadn't bought enough yarn to finish the second sleeve. So please, always remember to buy lots of yarn. So I had to pivot. It's okay to pivot, that's not a bad thing. I decided to take out some of the yarn that I already did and make a shoulder, and I would just fix it at the end of the project. And at that point, that's kind of all I could do. As you can see here in the middle of all of this, I sewed together the front and the back pieces. There are the outer corners, and you can kind of see the pockets on the inside actually turned out pretty good. Last couple of nights that I was working on this project, I turned on game theory and Markiplier and just crammed to get it finished. That's how much yarn I have left, and that's how much space I had left to at least finish the first, to get it up to the second sleeve to get up to the first sleeve. In between all of this, I also decided to work on the gold ribbing that was going to go around the front of the cardigan, in between the buttons and the edge of the cardigan. And I did this to kind of help preserve my sanity. I was so sick of the second sleeve, and I knew that this was something else I was going to have to do. I hadn't done a lot of the gold bordering for the project, which... This is another thing that I was learning through this project was timing. Like what needs to be done first, what can get done at the same time. Here I am attaching some of the gold ribbing as I go, just with a simple crochet stitch onto the inner part of the cardigan. Here you can see I finally have the inside of the gold ribbing for the cardigan done. Now all I have left to do is to do the gold ribbing on the rest of the project and the buttons. Hooray! Yep, both gold ribbings for both pockets. And the back. This is another Sunday morning. We've got the gold ribbing on the pockets done and just watching a cute little Mickey Mouse Halloween cartoon. It's getting close to October, so my summer project got tossed out the window at this point, but I'm really liking how it's looking, and you can kind of see it's starting to actually come together. I still have to do the gold ribbing on the back here, which is something I forgot at the beginning. Once again, read your patterns, but I've got enough gold definitely to finish this project. Here we're doing the gold ribbing on the back, and I am putting my knitting needle through each loop in the back. It took so long. So you can tell when I got to the end of this project, I was just ready to have it done. I was feeling a mix of both, just like excitement and adoration, you know, like, oh my goodness, this is looking really good. At the same time, I was also like, can I please be done? And I think anybody else who's worked in the fiber arts can understand that that's just sometimes how it goes. It's therapeutic, and you also just want to chuck it across the wall. Alright, slowly making our way across the gold ribbing on the back, which I love to knit ribbing, by the way. You do 2 stitches kind of back and forth, but it creates this beautiful stitch that makes up the edges of the project. And this was really fun to do. I really enjoyed doing this part. I'm also sporting this adorable hoodie that I made, just totally completely on a whim, but it says Superstar Daycare, and it's a FNAF reference for those who like FNAF. Again, it's just kind of fun that when you're a creative person, you can just kind of take whatever thing you want to make and bring it to life. We're almost done with the ribbing on the back here. It'll be this and literally the buttons that are left for me to do. So we're going to try to push through, get to the end. Okay, this is one of actually the last nights I was working on this. Threw on Markiplier's FNAF playlist, and as you can see, all I really have left to do, I mean, the pockets are looking great, I have to sew those on, make sure the back looks good, but then it's really just that and the buttons. Okay, those are finished. It's already been washed, and this is what is known as blocking. After you chuck your project into the wash, which is always good to do, so you don't have, gross kind of store yarn smell, you lay it out to dry, and this is where you can shape and pull your project to look like what you want it to look like. For me, this is super helpful in kind of fixing that second sleeve that wasn't as long. I stretched it out, pulled it out, gently, so it could hopefully match the first a little bit, and we're laying it out to dry for 1 to 2 days. Alright, finally putting on the buttons here, just making sure they match up with the buttonholes.
Finally done with this dang cardigan. Guys, I started this project in mid-summer, like when the Welcome Home energy was just coming out, and we're finally finishing it, and it is almost the end of October. Oh. But I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot about the knitting process, and you wouldn't believe how much pain and trouble I would have been saved if I had just read through the pattern just a little bit more. That would have helped me out so much. But it's okay, we're learning. There's still some stuff that needs to be done with the collar and with weaving in the ends, obviously, but I really like how it came out. It's pretty stinking cute for my first ever cardigan project. And I think in the future, if I want to do another knitting project like this, definitely I'm going to have to make sure I study the pattern beforehand, and that I have enough yarn, that I have the right needles, that I've got kind of everything I need, and I keep better count of stuff, because there was definitely a lot that I winged, and I think it was only because that I've done crochet and other knitting stuff so much that I knew kind of what the general shape of that I wanted. But I ran out of yarn on this left arm, quite a few rows before it was supposed to be finished, so obviously next time, more prep. But no, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I can't wait for my next project. Will I do another one like this? Maybe? If I find a cute pattern or some really cute inspiration, maybe, but not for now. I'm definitely gonna need a break, because this I'm still happy. I'm super relieved and super grateful that it came out as good as it did, with especially how much I didn't know. Yeah, but there we go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.